The eighth creepiest unexplained ocean sound is the train. Recorded by NOAA in 1997 in the equatorial Pacific, this sound doesn't resemble a whale, an earthquake, or a volcano. It sounds exactly like a distant locomotive, chugging relentlessly along a track. Now, obviously, there are no railroads on the floor of the Pacific Ocean. For a while, the steady, rhythmic rumble led to speculation about secret military projects or massive industrial machinery operating in the deep. But the reality, while less conspiratorial, is still impressive. We now believe that the train is the sound of a massive iceberg in the Ross Sea. As the iceberg moves, its heavy keel drags along the ocean floor, scraping through the sediment. That friction vibrates through the water column, creating a steady, mechanical hum that travels for thousands of miles. Even though we feel pretty certain that we know what caused the train sound, it is still haunting to imagine a ghost train on the ocean floor. Here is the train sound. In seventh place is the heavy hitter, the one you've almost certainly heard of, the bloop. If this list was being made 15 years ago, the bloop would be number one. Recorded in 1997 by hydrophones more than 3,000 miles apart, this ultra-low frequency sound was incredibly loud. But what made it viral wasn't the volume, it was the profile. The audio rises rapidly in frequency over about 1 minute, which is exactly what biological sounds do. It looked like the call of a living creature. The problem? To be heard that clearly over that distance, the creature would have to be significantly larger than a blue whale. For years, this fueled theories about a massive creature hiding in the depths of the ocean. However, the mystery of the bloop is mostly dead now. NOAA eventually concluded that the bloop wasn't a monster. It was an icequake. It was the sound of a massive iceberg cracking and fracturing off the Antarctic ice shelf. It turns out that when mountains of ice break apart, they can mimic the vocalizations of living things. It's still a terrifyingly powerful sound, but knowing it's just geology takes away the fear of the unknown. Here is the bloop sound. Moving up the list, we leave the monsters behind and enter the uncanny valley. In sixth place is Julia. Recorded on March 1st, 1999, in the equatorial Pacific, this sound is distinctly different from the others. It doesn't sound like a machine, and it doesn't sound like a beast. It sounds like a person. To the human ear, the recording sounds like a cooing, whining, or mumbling voice. It sounds uncomfortably like a woman complaining or calling out from underwater. Now we know logically what this is. Like the bloop, the source has been traced back to Antarctica, likely a large iceberg running aground near the Bransfield Strait. But that explanation doesn't make the audio any easier to listen to. I've ranked this higher than the bloop because of how it tricks the brain. We are hardwired to recognize human vocalizations, so hearing a mountain of ice produce a sound that mimics a human whimper is disturbing in a way that a loud bloop never could be. Here's the Julia sound. Now we arrive at SlowDown. This sound marks the transition on our list from creepy because it sounds human to creepy because of the sheer scale of the destruction. This is where we get more into elusive, unknown causes for these noises. Recorded on May 19th, 1997, the name gives away exactly what happens. The frequency of the sound slowly drops over time. But the terrifying part isn't the drop, it's the duration. Most biological sounds, like a whale call, last a few seconds. Most geological sounds, like an earthquake, are violent and sudden. SlowDown lasts for a staggering 7 minutes. Think about that. A continuous declining moan that echoes through the ocean for 7 full minutes. While the leading theory points to friction from a massive iceberg running aground, the audio implies an event of slow-motion destruction. It doesn't sound like a creature, it sounds like a dying planet. It evokes a feeling of deep-sea desolation that ranks it above the others. It's the sound of something massive coming to a very slow, very heavy stop. Here is the SlowDown sound. We are now entering the territory of the truly haunting. This isn't a one-time event or a geological accident. This is the story of the loneliest whale in the world. First identified in the late 1980s by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, this signal has been tracked for decades. It is clearly a whale song, but the frequency is wrong. Blue whales typically call between 10 and 40 hertz. Fin whales call at 20. But this whale calls at 52 hertz. This one isn't unsolved in the same way as the other sounds. We know this is a whale. We just don't know why it has a 52 hertz call, and we have never found the whale. The difference is just enough that he might be completely unintelligible to other whales. He swims in patterns similar to blue whales, but he never groups with them. He migrates alone. And for over 30 years, his calls have gone unanswered. I've ranked this so high not because it's scary in the traditional sense, but because of the existential dread it represents. It is a creature that is unique, perhaps a hybrid, perhaps a mutation, screaming into the void for a lifetime with no response. It is the sound of absolute isolation. Here is the 52 hertz whale call. Now we cross the line into the truly unexplained. This is the whistle. Recorded in 1997 in the Pacific, this sound is unnerving because of how clean it is. Unlike the rumbles and groans of ice or earthquakes, the whistle is a single narrow band tone. It sounds almost exactly like a kettle boiling or a distant siren. But here's why it ranks so high on the creep factor. It was elusive. Usually when NOAA picks up a major sound in the ocean, it hits multiple microphones or hydrophones, allowing scientists to triangulate exactly where it came from. The whistle was different. It was captured by only one hydrophone. Because it didn't show up on the other sensors, we can't pinpoint where it was. It was a ghost in the machine. While some analysts think it resembles the acoustic signature of a submarine volcano erupting, the inability to locate it leaves us in the dark. It feels less like a geological event and more like a signal that was localized, specific, and perhaps didn't want to be heard. This one remains up there with some of the most creepy ocean sounds ever recorded. Here is the whistle sound. We have reached the heavyweights. This is UpSweep. For years, this was considered the holy grail of unexplained ocean sounds, and for good reason. Recorded by NOAA continuously since 1991, UpSweep consists of a long train of narrowband, rising sounds. To the ear, it sounds like an eerie siren, or perhaps an orchestra tuning up in a massive underwater hall. But the reason this ranks so high isn't just the sound itself, it's the behavior. UpSweep is seasonal. The sound follows a distinct pattern. It peaks in volume during the spring and autumn, and quiets down in the winter and summer. And that is a massive problem for scientists. The leading theory is that this is the sound of undersea lava interacting with water. But here's the thing. Geology doesn't own a calendar. Volcanoes and mudslides don't care what season it is. Biology cares about seasons. Animals migrate, rocks do not. This contradiction, something that sounds like the earth moving, but follows the schedule of a living thing, is the definition of a true mystery. It bridges the gap between the living and the dead, and we still don't have a confirmed answer. Here is the UpSweep sound. And finally, we arrive at number 1, the most disturbing sound in the ocean. This is the ping. I've placed this at the top of the list for one terrifying reason. The other sounds are just noises. The ping is an invisible force that has real-world casualties. It started in the summer of 2016 in the Fury and Hecla Strait in the Canadian Arctic. Local Inuit hunters began reporting a strange acoustic hum, sometimes described as a beep or a ping, emanating from the seafloor and resonating through the hulls of their boats. But it wasn't just annoying, it was hostile. This area had been a migration route for seals and whales for centuries. But when the ping started, the animals vanished. The ocean was suddenly empty. The sound was actively driving wildlife away. The situation was so severe that the Canadian military deployed a CP-140 Aurora patrol aircraft to sweep the area for submarines or unauthorized surveillance devices. They searched for an hour and a half. They found nothing. To this day, we don't know what it is, and there is no publicly available audio for the ping. Theories range from illegal mining sonar to foreign submarines to Greenpeace sabotage. But unlike the other mysteries on this list, the ping isn't just a ghost story. It's an active, unsolved phenomenon that is silencing the ocean. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Your support means the world to me. Please leave a comment down below as to what mysteries I should cover next. Bye.